The reports of finding giant skeletons, as have been recorded in ancient texts. This is by the Orpheus team, and I'm translating from a Greek article. Many traditions of people, both oral and written, refer to the existence of giants, giant people. Apollodorus and Pausanias wrote of them, and also they are written about in the Old Testament. And these giants, who once lived in the past and left behind megalithic structures. The Homeric heroes are referred to as giants, and they had superpowers and are reminiscent of high-tech knowledge, given the Greek writer Homer, Herodotus, and other writers. Careful reading will show that these heroes were not just humans, but superhuman figures whose powers did not touch the reality, or at least the technological level of their time. Greek mythology describes details of alliances in the wars of the giants and their gradual replacement by other quote-unquote gods. The battles of the Titans, called Gigantomachy, the Titans, is said to have ended near the present-day Megalopolis in the Peloponnese, where Zeus burned down the giants. Today there are the mines of the lignite mines of PPC, of the public power company, DEI, at the area where they have this huge, I've been in that area, I haven't been to this power production company, but it's full of coal there. As some say, they are often in the lignite and they find huge bones, that is, bones of giants in that area. Although the discovery of these giant bones is now thoroughly concealed from various centers, the ancient sources that have survived us today are an endless source of knowledge for references to finding these giant skeletons of antiquity. And one can imagine that these skeletons we'll see are already old for ancient people who discovered them. Specifically, August 7, 1900, in the newspaper titled Embros, meaning forward, on page 3 we read, from that's a Greek paper, from a positive and very credible source, it is announced halfway through Messenia that 2 giant human skeletons, about 3.5 meters long, that's over 10 feet tall, have been found in the excavated field. And he said the owner of them managed to transfer them to Kalamata, which is all the way down in the end of the Peloponnese, where you were seeing them by the opportunity to export them abroad. Why would they take them abroad? But anyway, in library, Apollodorus states that the filigree giants, the Phlegri giants, the giants of Phlegri, were insignificant in body size, meaning that they were larger in size than all the other giants he mentioned in his book, with the exception of the oversized giant called Hurricane, Typhonas, which is the largest of all the children of Gaia. Philostratus says that the skeleton of the giant Phlegra discovered in Kos was 5.5 meters long. Let's say 6 meters, that's about 18 feet long. Then Orestes in his volume A66, Herodotus mentions that at the time there were giants of 7 sheaths in length. He specifically says that Orestes' tomb had been found, and his skeleton, which was 7 piches long, was then measured at 3 meters and 8 centimeters, 3 meters is about 10 feet. 10 feet. That is, Orestes for Herodotus was a giant. How was his skeleton found by the ancients? According to the story of Herodotus, the Lacedaemonians, that is the Spartans, tried unsuccessfully to defeat the Teges until they received the Pythian word, that is the oracle of Pythia, and that they had to bring Orestes' bones into place. The Lacedaemonians, that is the Spartans, searched for Orestes' bones until Lichas, the Spartan, found them by coincidence. It was said by Lichas to a blacksmith, who revealed to him that in his attempt to build a well in his yard, he had cut the bones of a giant 7-inch long. And Lichas went to the Spartans to reveal to them what he had learned, and they accused him of creating fairy tales. So he went back to Tegea, and that's in the Peloponnese, and again found the blacksmith from whom he rented the land, and cleared the bones of Orestes, which he had transferred to Sparta, and the Spartans remained speechless. From then on, the oracle was fulfilled, and whenever there was a battle between the Tegeans and the Spartans, the Lacedaemonians were victorious. The Spartans were victorious. Now, what happened to Orestes' bones, we cannot know for sure. Maybe they were transferred to Rome when Greece was invaded, but what we do know for sure is that Lichas found the bones of Agamemnon's son, who is still considered a mythical person, and not just found them, but they were also bones that fit the proportions of a giant. So, okay, Orestes, Agamemnon's son, and he was a giant. And let's go on with the article now. And we continue with Aeandas. Pausanias refers to the skeletons of Aeanda and Peloponnesus and says, a man from Mysia told me about the size of Aeandas. The side of the tomb on the shore fell off the sea and was easy to access, and for the size of the dead, he said that the bones in the knees that doctors call mills are equal to the tray used by young people in the podium. And then we have Pelopas. The war is said to have been prolonged in Ilion of Troy, and the fortune teller said that they would not conquer the city unless they carried the bows of Hercules and the bones of the skeleton of Peloponnesus. So they were sent to bring Philocletus to the camp, and from Pisa, one of the bones of Pelops to the scapegoat. Do you know what? No. One of the bones of Pelop, the shoulder blade. On the way back, the boat carrying Pelopa's bone was lost in bad weather near Evia, the island of Evia, which is east of Athens, just off Marathon. Many years after the fall of the sun, the fall of Ilion, of Troy, the fishermen from Eretria, Damaramenos, cast nets into the sea and lifted the bone. Pelopas' shoulder blade, that is. Admiring the size of the bone, he hid it in the sand. In the end, however, he went to Delphi, the oracle is at Delphi, to find out who the man belonged to and what to do with it. And then we had Orondis. The next one is Orondis. Pausanias says that the Roman Emperor Tiberius wanted to make a river, Orondis, floating from the sea to Antioch. With the construction of the canal, the ancient riverbed was dried up, and a cave of 11 cavities with human skeletons of similar length was discovered there. The Syrians constructed the Syrians consulted the oracle of Clarus, who told them that the dead man was Orondes, of Indian descent. Indian descent, from India. Pakistan, India. And then we have Orion. Pliny the Elder, the Roman physicist who lived between 23 and 39 AD, wrote concerning the bones of a mythical giant Orion, that was discovered in an open mountain of Crete. These discoveries fueled the Greco-Roman societies with myths about a struggle to defeat the giants of the gods, and created the power of the heroes of Greek and Roman mythology. And then you have the giant Antaeus, and for one of the other giants, Antaeus, the Greek historian and philosopher of the 1st to 2nd century AD, Plutarch says that his skeleton, which was discovered when around 80 BC, Roman general Sertorius excavated his tomb in the Libyan city of Tingis. He was 60 feet long, or 27.6 meters. This giant Antaeus was 60 feet long. Antaeus was a mythical giant, son of the god Poseidon and Gaia, the earth, and king of Libya. It's part of both Greek mythology and Berber mythical tradition. And according to tradition, Antaeus challenged anyone passing through his country to fight and always won, being unbeaten in his contact with the earth. This power of Antaeus was confronted by Hercules and defeated by lifting him from the ground. Hercules was on his way to his 11th endeavor, his 11th task, his 11th feat, finding the garden of Hesperides. When Roman governor Quintus Sertorius crossed from Spain to North Africa, residents of the Tigre region, today the Tangiers, west of Libya, transported him with the giant relics of Antaeus. They had been found in a tomb, and digging the men discovered a giant skeleton. In the 4th book of the Epic of Pharsalia, Lucanus states that an unknown Libyan told the Roman Curion the story of Hercules' victory over Antaeus, the giant. Plutarch, in which the reference to the finding of the remains of Antaeus is found above, also cites in the same passage a local myth in which Hercules mingled with Antaeus' wife Tingi after his death and made a son named Sophocles, who gave the city the name of his mother. Okay? Yes? And also, according to other sources, Hercules had a son, Palimon of Iphineus, daughter of Antaeus. Then we have Achilles. Could the heroes described by Homer in his epics all be giants? But of course, let's consider Achilles' case. Marianas writes that when Alexander the Great was found in Asia Minor, he went to Achilles' tomb. There he found Achilles' shield weighing 150 pounds, and 3 men with difficulty could lift it. So if Achilles had a shield weighing 150 pounds, you could imagine how big and heavy it was for 3 men with difficulty lifting it. Obviously, Achilles was a giant, just like Orestes, Agamemnon's son, was a giant. So these people that took part in the Trojan War, most likely, were giants. I didn't know that, but this is what is written here in the annals of the ancient Greeks who kept notes of these things. Tell me what you think. I think this is fascinating. I didn't know, especially about Orestes and Achilles, that they were giants, and that Alexander the Great, we know that he loved Achilles. Achilles was his hero, and when he went to Asia Minor, that's where he broke the Gordian knot with his sword. He also went to the tomb of Achilles there. Now, we know that in the tomb of heroes, they were not just a little casket. It was a whole room with gates and barred gates and more of a structure around it. And in the tomb, they had belongings of the hero. Like they would have his armor, his helmet, his sword, his shield, and maybe a drinking cup, a gold cup or something. These are the types of things that they would have with them. Their shin guards, things like that. So that's where he also found the shield that weighed 150 pounds. With difficulty, 3 men could lift it. Obviously, Achilles was a giant. Just like Orestes, the son of Agamemnon, was a giant. So tell me what you think. I think this is fascinating. This is our ancient history, after all. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.